Well, hello, lovely soul, and welcome to my insights. Thanks for joining me. These insights that I share come through me from my spirit team. I'm a psychic medium, and they've always got the aim of providing you with knowledge, methodologies, or even clarity in your life moving forward. Today's insights are no different. So, sitting here thinking about, what's come up in the past couple of months through readings, through healings with me. And I wanted to touch on emotional trauma. And the question really was when I sat down and thought about this, because a lot of people come through with emotional trauma. And then I hear things or I read things and I think about, why, people are so reluctant to come and have healings done, or reluctant to talk about any trauma that they've had. But where is it written that the only way to heal emotional trauma is to dig up everything from your past, reassociate with it, which is reliving it in your mind, and then sift through each and every emotional trauma that you've had in your past until it's resolved? Where is that written, that that's the only way to overcome it? So this topic again has been brought to my awareness a lot during the past few months, where people might say to me, "Oh, I'm not sure that I'm ready to release that. I don't really want to go through that." I'll have people come and sit with me, and I've really got to explain that it doesn't need to be hard to actually shift belief system or to shift thoughts. It doesn't need to be painful. And the question is why? Why do we have to relive our emotional traumas to remove them? Why do we feel like releasing all of our emotional traumas from the past is actually going to be traumatic in itself? I find that really intriguing because it just doesn't need to be. A lot of the time when we do go through emotional trauma, there are a couple of ways that, that this can occur. So it can either be years of negative experiences where we've just had time and time again of things happening to us that we seem to just become accustomed to it, that when they creep up on us, when these emotional traumas creep up on us over time, that we just get to a point where we can't ignore it anymore. It's become a pattern. There it is again. Oh, I'm seeing it again. Oh, that's got to be from mum or from dad or from my childhood or from the accident or from that work or from that boss or from that bullying. And there's all of this stuff that can come up all of a sudden, like it's just been this gentle grooming over a period of time where we've copped it and gone through it and experienced it and gone through it again. And then all of a sudden one experience hits us and all of this stuff unravels. So sometimes it can creep up on us over time until you just can't ignore it anymore. The other time it comes up is when it just smacks you in the face. It just comes out of nowhere. So all of a sudden you've never had that experience before. You've never been through emotional trauma like this before. And all of a sudden it just smacks you up in the face. It's just in your life. That can be really, really hard. No matter which way we experience emotional trauma, it's going to evoke feelings of pain, hurt, disempowerment. It can evoke feelings of grief, even despair. Then you can add into this mix feelings of anger, unworthiness, guilt, shame. There are just so many different low vibrational emotions that we can actually go through. And it's so horrific to us, and it can really stop us in our tracks when the pain is that great. And I want to acknowledge that because emotional trauma can be that painful. And when it is this painful, it also impacts our bodies at a really deep cellular level. And this is really what can cause illness and physical pain within our bodies. If you're wanting to know more about that and, changing thoughts, we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. But Louise Hay and Lise Bourbeau are two of the people to actually go to really dissect this information. So Louise Hay in particular really talks about how to heal your life. She has a section in that, how to heal your body. And the basis of all of this is that all of our thoughts and all of our emotions, so what we think and how we feel about things, transfer at a cellular level into our body, which is what causes illness and inflammations. So no matter which way this comes, emotional trauma can evoke feelings of pain and hurt and disempowerment. It can absolutely stop us in our tracks. So no, I guess the answer is no. No one would want to relive all of this to heal it. And so no wonder I've got people that would say to me, "Oh, I'm not ready for that. I'm not sure that I want to let go of that. I don't want to go through that or experience that again. There are a lot of people that have had experience with other therapies as well, where they're like, that didn't resolve anything for me. I just kept reliving it all the time, and I'm not sure that I actually moved through it or I healed it. And of course, you're not going to want to go down that rabbit hole. Who wants to relive all of that stuff? And it's this sort of attitude or this experience or negative experience that we've had that really gives the perception that healing itself is going to be traumatic. And it might be easier to, take a pill, take a drug, or ignore it rather than relive it, because nobody wants to relive trauma. I just want you to take a moment, though, to think about a time in your life when you've had to heal from a basic physical ailment, such as the flu or a cold, you've got the sniffles, or even a cut finger or a broken limb. I'm lucky enough I've never had a broken limb. Thank goodness, knock on wood. So I want you to think about a time where you've had an ailment like the flu or a cold or a cut finger or a broken limb, even strained muscles. Next, what I want you to do is think about what state you were in to heal from this. Now, a state is also a feeling. It's not so much an emotion, it's a state. So what state were you in? And I'm not talking about what physical state you're in. I'm talking about what mental state you're in. More often than not, when we're in a healing state, or when we're trying to heal our bodies, we go into a state of self-care. We physically slow down. We slow down. So if you've got the flu or the cold, we physically slow down. We want to tend to the ailment, whatever's going on with us. And so naturally we slow down. You might slow down and be in a hospital to force you to slow down. Or you might be in your home. You might be staying with people that can look after you. With the flu, we generally try and relax our bodies. We sleep more. A lot of people will say that, just get a lot of bed rest, lots of liquids and lots of bed rest. So when we have the flu, we tend to relax our bodies. We sleep more and we seek peace and anticipate when we'll be well again. With a cut finger, we might clean it, bandage it, we might even stitch it, depending on how deep the cut is, but we look forward to when it's going to be healed. We just sort of relax with it and move on. A broken limb or a strained limb, broken limbs need to be set by doctors, hopefully, so generally set, and then we allow time for it to heal. I mean, if you've got a strained muscle, you've really got to be in a space where you're allowing it to heal. So it's not exerting yourself or, continuing to exercise if you've really strained a muscle, so that you're in a space where you can actually just relax and let it heal. I do appreciate that there are some medical conditions that humans have, that we all have, where healing can be a painful experience. However, most of the time, for our bodies to heal, we need rest. We need peace. We need calm, and self-love and nurturing. So we need rest and peace and calm and self-love and nurturing. So I guess the challenge that we're really faced with here is why should healing emotional trauma, which seems to be up in our minds a lot, why should emotional trauma be any different? Why can't we choose for it to be peaceful and calm and easy and self-loving and nurturing? I mean, wouldn't that be the more productive way to heal? I absolutely believe, through the work that I do with my healing modalities and through spiritual metaphysics and quantum physics, that emotional healing can feel easy. It can feel self-loving and it can feel nurturing. I also believe that we all have the ability to heal ourselves. Now, as a healer, I'm able to channel healing vibrations. It's never me just doing the healing for you or for other people. It's, although it might appear that way because it's me talking or it's me speaking or it's me acting a certain way, like with my energy. But it's actually your own vibration matching the healing vibrations that I'm channeling. Why? Because you actually want to heal. You're ready to be in the now and to be true to your authentic self. And you're ready to let go of any past trauma. So that's the time where you're ready to come and see a healer. That's the time where you're ready to really go through that experience and to fully let go, because you're becoming aligned with the healing vibration. So for me, when I'm in the act of healing somebody or doing healing with somebody, because I'm not healing them, they are healing themselves. But when I'm in that process, we'll spend some time talking about where it's at, but then I will get my state into a vibration of healing, and the person that I'm working with, their vibration will match that state. So their vibration is actually matching mine, which means that they're actually doing the healing. I'm just witnessing the healing because I believe that it's going to heal. So I'm just witnessing that. But in all of that time, they are calm, relaxed, peaceful, nurturing, and in a place of self-love. It's really hard. You can't be coming from a place of absolute anger and aggression or disempowerment and be in a state of love vibration. They're two polar opposites. So that's why people come and see me for healing, because then they can actually meet the vibration that's there. I help them to actually get there, because I do believe everybody does heal themselves. We only ever have the now and, being in the moment right now. So if we only have the now, because time-space reality doesn't exist, so if we've only got right now in the moment, any time that we think of a past trauma, we actually relive it. We feel it like it just happened. We might talk about it like it's just happened yesterday. What we're actually doing at this point in time, when we're actually reliving it or talking about it, or sharing information about it, or we're actually bringing the past into our now, into this moment. And that's why this can actually feel traumatic all over again. From a neuro-linguistic programming perspective, we'd actually call that reassociation. So you're reliving or reassociating with that whole memory. And when you bring those thoughts back into your mind again, it travels right down every single cell in your body, and that can reignite all of those feelings and all of those emotions that you had to it. And so, it's no wonder when you do reassociate and bringing it from the past into the now, that you're still going to feel stuck, or you're going to feel overwhelmed, or it's going to feel painful to actually let it go. But what we're really talking about here is it doesn't need to be painful. It doesn't need to be hard, and you absolutely do not need to reassociate with it. You do not need to relive it to let it go. Some people will say, oh, well, I've had so much trauma in my past, that's going to take years to get through and to look at. And I'm like, actually, no, it doesn't. It can take 15 seconds. You can release that stuff as soon as you're ready to release it. You're not defined by your past. You're defined by your now. And you have got permission to let any of that stuff go. It doesn't define who you are. But if you continue to think about it, you continue to ruminate on it, then you're not in a space of peace, you're not in a space of or a state of relaxation, and you are continuing to really tell yourselves at every single level, hey, I'm not okay. One of the things that's really important about all of this and being in the moment is that we all have freedom of thought, every single one of us. No one else can control your thinking. Only you. Nobody else can control your thinking. Other people might try and influence your thinking, but they're still your thoughts. So you still get to choose. So each and every one of us has got the ability to change what we think. No one else controls it. So we can choose what we're going to think. We can change our thoughts. We can say no to replaying emotional trauma in our mind. But the question is, how do we do that? A lot of the time I refer to it as pivoting. So I can actually work with people individually and be in a space where I can actually really, raise my vibration, get them into a healing vibration, and actually clear out subconscious belief that's actually there, or past negative experiences that people have had. There are different resources that I use for that. So we can actually go through and do that. But I want to stipulate you have the power to do this, because nobody else can impact your thoughts. One of my favorite things, thoughts and emotions. So you have a thought, then you actually feel something about it. So you have an emotion, might feel it in your body, and then you get a result. So if you have a positive thought, happy thought, or let's go positive, something that you really want, you're excited about, then a thought, I'm thinking of something, it makes me feel like this. I think this thought and it makes me feel happy. I think this thought and it brings me joy. It makes me feel joyful. I think this thought and I feel freedom in my body. That gives you a result. Yeah. So you have a thought, you attach it to emotion, and then you get a result. You get some form of an outcome. So you might get a positive outcome with that. If you have a negative thought, oh, I'm so fat, negative thought. That could be a trauma pattern from past. Sorry if I triggered you. So I'm so this. Then we have a negative emotion with that, and that might be frustration. And then you're going to get negative results with that. You're going to keep yourself in that cycle. And so my whole point with this is you have got the power to change your thoughts. You have got the power to change what you're thinking. Nobody else can do that for you. That's why people listen to self-help books. That's why people listen to podcasts. That's why people have, stuff that affirmations that they'll do on a daily basis, that they'll write it on a sticky note, put it on a mirror, and they will read it out loud to themselves every day, because that is influencing the thought. It is giving them an emotion, and then they're getting a result with a positive, hopefully positive, when they're actually going that way about it. So we're going to talk about some of the best ways to control thoughts. And one of the, some of the best ways to control your thoughts are to get new ones. The question is how? How do you pivot? How do you get new ones? So how do you get new thoughts? One of the first things that I often talk about is bring your attention back into the now, into this moment. The brain cannot think of two things at once. You might want to try that. The brain works on a cybernetic loop. It cannot think of two things at once. One of my other favorite things to share with people is that multitasking doesn't exist. So you think you're multitasking, but what you're doing is taking 10 tasks and then applying a few seconds here, a few seconds here, a few seconds here, and a few seconds. You're splitting your attention across all of those different tasks. And so it feels like you're getting a lot done, but you're actually splitting your focus, because the brain can only think of one thing at once. So let's just think about, what did you actually have for breakfast? Did you have breakfast this morning? What did you actually have for breakfast? And if you responded to that right then, your brain was only thinking about what you were going to have for breakfast, what you did have for breakfast, or maybe what you didn't have for breakfast. It wasn't thinking about getting new thoughts. It wasn't thinking about change, and it certainly wasn't thinking about trauma. It was just thinking about breakfast. And that's how rapidly our brain can actually work. So bringing your attention back into the now, into this moment, is one of the ways to actually get new thoughts. Just bring it back to now. You might have a cup of coffee in front of you. Focus on the cup of coffee. How did I make that? Did I boil the kettle? You might be looking at something on your computer. Turn your head the other way and look at something on a wall. Look at a piece of artwork on the wall. Look at a photo. Look out the window. Look for something else around you. Come back into the now. You might even look down and just go, oh yeah, I wore that shirt today, or I put those shoes on today. So bring your attention back into the now, into this moment. The other way to do it is to focus on what you're doing right now. So what are you doing right now? What are you right in the middle of? And if you find yourself in a space of going, well, I'm right in the middle of driving, well, you might want to focus your attention on driving. So and a lot of the time when we do drive, I understand that we get into a subconscious state and we do things on automatic pilot when we are driving, but you've still got to have attention to what you're actually doing. But bring your focus and attention onto what you're doing right now. So your brain veers off into all of these different negative thoughts or traumatic experiences. Just bring your attention back to now. What are you doing right now? Another way to get new thoughts is to create new goals for yourself that feel good, that make you feel happy. So I don't want you to go out and, put new goals in place that you go, yes, I'm going to buy the new car. And then you think about it and you just go, but I don't know how that's going to happen. I'm not sure what car I want. They're so expensive. I don't know where I'm going to get the money for that. We don't want goals like that. So we want goals that are going to make you feel good. So if you're going to have the goal of a new car, then we want you to be able to picture the new car, feel it like you're getting into it, smell the leather, make it feel good to yourself, and really be in that moment. But the point here is, when we create new goals for ourselves that feel good and make us happy, then the brain is going to focus on achieving those. So one of my best examples with this is, if you do drive, the first car you ever owned. What was the first car you ever owned? For me, it was a Honda Civic. It was bright yellow. I loved it. I called it the egg beater because I think that's what it felt like to drive that car. But it was a bright yellow Honda Civic. And very retro. And, when you're driving that car, so think about the first car that you ever purchased. Think about what car it was. Was it gifted to you? Did you have to buy it? But we spend all of this time getting so excited about being in the new car, and we're picturing the new car, or, getting our first car. And you don't see any of them on the road anywhere. But as soon as you are behind the wheel of your new car, you are seeing that car everywhere, all over the road. For me, it wasn't so much seeing multiple Honda Civics, but I was actually seeing a lot of yellow cars on the road. So our brain works like that. It kicks into gear when we understand it at a subconscious level. Then it actually works as a magnet. When we're really familiar with something, it works like a magnet to bring this stuff to us. And so creating new goals for yourself really gets, and really, if you're not writing down your goals, you really do need to do that, because we're talking about getting this into your subconscious mind. And when you've got these goals written down, it doesn't need to be in a SMART goal if you understand corporate language. It doesn't need to be, dated and time stamped. Just write down some bullet points of things that you actually want to do. I'd like to call it a bucket list more than goals, but goals seem to resonate with a lot of people. But get a bucket list together. What are some of the things that you still want to experience that make you feel great? I think about still wanting to go to Antarctica and how much I love polar bears. I really love polar bears. I don't understand where that came from, but I just love them. I think about, going to the Andes, going to Peru and going to the Andes and seeing where the Incas were. I get excited about going to Canada in fall and seeing all the leaves, Japan and seeing the cherry blossoms on the trees and the bonsai. There's so many different good feeling thoughts that I have, even with travel, of things that I want to do. I don't know how, I don't know when these things are going to happen, but I know that I get really excited thinking about them. And so these are things that you want to place in a notebook or on the wall, whatever it is. Some people do use vision boards. That's never really worked for me in the past when I've had it. So a vision board is where you would cut out pictures of things that you actually want to experience, and you put them on a board where you can see them all the time. Now, for me, when I went through that experience, and I've got ways and means, and I can teach you how to do all of that stuff. But for me, when I used a vision board, I'm already really visual. So when I used the vision board, I found myself looking at it. Like, I had a picture of a burnt orange coloured Citroen car, again, on my vision board for ages. And I just remember looking at it going, oh, when am I going to get that? Oh, when am I going to afford that? And as soon as you're doing that negativity around it, you need to take the vision board down, because a vision board is meant to be something that's a visual reminder of excitement. It's meant to actually raise your vibration. So you look at it and go, oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait till that car's in my life. I can see it, I can feel it, I can touch it. So if you're using a vision board, make sure that you're using it for the right reasons. But we're coming back into new thoughts. The best way to control our thoughts is to get new thoughts. And one of those ways is to create a bigger bucket list for yourself. Now, I've talked about travel. I've talked about cars. Your goals don't need to be expensive. I just seem to have expensive taste. But your goals might be, I want to clean the lounge chair. I want to clean the house. I want to have my carpet done. It might be as simple as that. I want to get a new plant for the backyard. I want to experience this, or I want to do that. So creating goals or having goals for yourself don't have to be exorbitant. They can be small goals as well. I really want to look after my health for the next month. I want to eat good food for the next month. That's not even weight loss. That's just eating healthy food, right? So creating new goals for yourself that feel good and make you feel happy is another way to get new thoughts. And the more goals that you can have, the more positive stuff you're cramming into your brain's not going to have time to think about trauma and past trauma. That's the whole point with that. Make sure that you write them down. That's going to be key. Another way to get new thoughts, if your brain wanders, which our brains tend to do that sometimes, snap it back into focus. Sometimes I will recommend to clients to clap when you find yourself ruminating, which means going over the past. So when you find yourself going back down that rabbit hole of the trauma or thinking about it, click your fingers, clap your hands, stamp your foot, throw your bum down into the nearest chair and acknowledge that that's what you're doing. One of the first things that when your brain is wandering back down this path again, snap it back into focus by doing something physical. Draw the line at hitting other people. Don't do that. So we really want to be in a space where we're using, and it's called anchoring. So doing something really physical to acknowledge what we're thinking about, to stop it in its tracks, and then to pivot our thinking into something else. So this is how that would work. I'm just really fearful that I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, Z. Who said that I'm going to be? Why are you thinking that? What do you want to think instead? I want to think about what I'm having for dinner tonight. Okay, well, let's have that thought instead. And all of a sudden, I've pivoted my thinking into something different. Yeah, I've broken the cycle and thought about something different. It's too easy to sit there and go, I'm in fear, I can't do this, I don't want to do. And all of a sudden, I'm spiraling down and getting into a place of either fight, flight, or freeze. And often it's freeze when we get into those really negative traumas or negative experiences that we've had in the past. So This particular example is when your brain wanders and it goes back down that path, snap it back into focus by using something that you can hear or something physical. So banging your hand on a desk, not too loud if you're at work, stamping a foot, clapping a hand, clicking a finger. Those things can really help you break that cycle, and then think that you've got to follow through. You got to think of something else after that that's going to feel better to you. The next way to get new thoughts is use creative visualization. We talk about this all the time. So we have these amazing, we're souls in human bodies. First and foremost, we're a soul in a human body. The example that I use here is that the soul is the driver and the body is the car. So that makes the heart, the engine, and then we've got all of the different organs that are all of the different mechanics of the car. The brain is the GPS. But we were actually given our brain, not just for strategic thinking, which strategic thinking is actually creative, but we're given our brain for creative visualization. Really, we have a thought, we picture it, we feel it like we've got it, and then we look for the results. We just wait for the results. So that's manifesting. That's what manifesting is. So it's really about using creative visualization. So if you find your space or find yourself in a place where you're thinking about the trauma that you've experienced or the emotional trauma that you've had, that you just can't get yourself out of bed. So I've had so much emotional trauma, I just cannot get myself out of bed today. And what I want you to do with that is then lie in bed, but I want you to picture yourself getting up and going for a coffee, or picture yourself getting up and going for a walk, or going to your kitchen, or going to the bathroom. Make it as easy as possible. Simple and easy is the best way. But when you're lying in bed, you can easily creatively visualize doing something different. Love this. It's kind of like putting on virtual goggles, and there's so much scientific research around the benefit of these activities these days. When we talk about virtual realities, virtual goggles, or these virtual reality games, they literally putting goggles on people to help them learn how to walk again. So they'll actually have the virtual goggles on like they're actually walking. Reminds me of Avatar, because they actually do that sort of stuff in Avatar, the movie. And I just think, using your creative visualization is one of the greatest way to change your thoughts. One of the next ways is to change your beliefs. So get new thoughts, change your beliefs. I love this. So beliefs are just thoughts that we keep thinking. I'll say that again. A belief that you have is just a thought that you keep thinking. And we think the same thoughts so often that it becomes a belief. Just a reminder, a belief is a thought that we keep on thinking. So if we change the thought, then we change the belief. So it's just a thought we keep thinking. I think what's really interesting with this, let's use basic examples here. You have to work hard for money. I have to work hard for money. I have to work hard for money. I have to have a job, and I have to work hard for money. My next question to that is going to be to myself, who said? Who said that the only way to allow financial freedom and financial abundance into your life, Jennifer, is to be at a 9-to-5 job? Who said? So I'm going to challenge the thought. Who said? I'm going to challenge it. And then I'm going to say, where did I learn that? Why do I keep thinking that? And I'll tell you, I heard it a lot growing up. So growing up in the 70s and 80s and 90s, you've got to have a job. You've got to have a real job. You've got to have a job. You can't survive in this world unless you've got a job. And I think that's really interesting, because money is the tender, not the job. Money is the tender that we use to barter in this world. And even then, money's not real these days. It's all on paper. But if money is what it is that I'm working for, why do I have to have a job to do it? It's not really the job that I need. So you can start to question it. You see where my brain just went. I just started to challenge it and question it all the way through. So then I go, so where did I get that belief from? Do I still need to hold on to that belief today? And I go, well, do I have to have a job? And I really laugh about that, because job, J-O-B, just off broke. So to have a job, do I need to have a job, or, is having a job good, but then I've got something else like a hobby that I do in the background, something else that's actually going to bring in income. So do I have to work hard for money? Do I have to have a job? Do I have to work hard for money? Do I have to work hard for it? And I vote, no, I don't want to have that belief. I don't want it to be hard to work for money. Like, imagine that. You're just working hard your whole life. I want it to be easy. My sister and I have a phrase. Do you want it to be hard or easy? I know, we will laugh about that for years to come, Deb. So, do you want it to be hard or easy? And the answer is easy. So then, do I need to hold on to the belief that I've got to work hard? That doesn't mean that I don't apply myself. It doesn't mean that I don't have discipline toward things. But it means that the belief that I have to work hard, or I have to have a job or a 9-to-5 job to earn an income, these sorts of things, do I need to hold on to that belief? And I'll tell you, as an entrepreneur, no, you do not need to hold on to those beliefs. Here's another fun one for you, just regarding finances. Money is the root of all evil. Is it? I don't know if you grew up here. Money doesn't grow on trees. Really? But if you're a horticulturalist, it might. So what is the belief that you're holding, and do you still need to hold on to it? If we get a little bit more ruthless with this, so we're talking about finance at a high level, and it's actually, I will double down on that and just go, it's not money is the root of all evil. It's actually love of money is the root of all evil, if you want to play the game correctly. That's actually truly what the expression is. So it's really up to you to go through and test whether or not that is true for you. Just by asking yourself, do I need to hold on to that? Do I have to believe that the only way to make money is to work hard? Do I have to work really hard? There are people that don't work hard for money that are out there. There are people that actually just do what they love and income seems to flow to them. How come they don't believe that working hard? They will not have that belief. They will have the belief that, wow, money flows to me easily. Money comes to me easily. And look at that. We just changed the belief. We also want to be in a space where we're certainly not using the word don't. When we start, I can get into the linguistics with that for you, but the brain doesn't acknowledge the word don't. So if you're actually going to use that to change a belief, please try not to. The brain doesn't register the word don't. So if you're telling a child don't jump, they're going to jump because the brain doesn't register. Don't fall out of the tree. Somebody's going to fall out of the tree. So the brain doesn't register the word don't. You can use do not, which would work, but the brain can't register the word don't. So if we're changing beliefs and we're saying, I have to work hard for money. I don't have to work hard for money. Please try not to use that terminology. You want to change it completely to say, I no longer have to work hard for money. Acquiring money is easy. Money comes to me easily. So we're really changing that belief system. If we get hardcore, these are some of the beliefs. I grew up believing that I was not good enough, not worthy. And so when you're in that space, that can be a real emotional bender. So I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Really? I'm 52. Do I have to hold on to that belief? Do I really believe all of these years later that some bully in a playground in primary school who told me that I wasn't good enough, do I actually have to hold on to that anymore? It's been affirmed several times throughout my life, reminding me every experience that I've had with that emotional trauma, being bullied, being reminded time, there it is again, being bullied again, so I must not be worthy. Well, do I really need to hold on to that belief anymore? Really? Do I need to hold on to that belief? Do I believe after all of these years that I am not worthy? Who's in charge of my thoughts? Me. Who's in charge of my who said that I'm not worthy? Well, I've got all the examples of all the times that people told me I wasn't worthy. I heard it my whole life. Well, but do I need to still hold on to it? What am I worthy of? I'm worthy of being here. I'm worthy of my opinion. I'm worthy of what I do day to day. I'm worthy of having a nap. I'm worthy of having a cup of coffee. Really, so I don't need to hold on. I am worthy. So when we get into these beliefs, you've really got to, you don't need to analyze where it came from, but when it comes up, you want to pivot your thinking and change the belief. Think about what you still need to believe, and then you say something new. And this is what we were talking about earlier when we talk about affirmations, where people write on sticky notes and put it on the mirror, and then they say it out loud to themselves every morning, every moment, every morning, or any time that they get an opportunity to. Money flows to me easily. I am worthy. All of this, because the more you think it, remember, a belief is just something you keep thinking. So the more you think it and think of it in the positive, the more you're going to change your internal belief. The other thing that you can do is challenge it by saying, who said? When we're talking about challenging thinking or challenging belief systems, who said? You know, if they say I'm not good, who said I'm not good enough? Well, like I said, I had a lot of examples of that. You might have a negative belief that's there of saying, I can't do this. Who said? Who said that you can't do this? Who said that it's not possible? Where did you learn that? So again, it's challenging your internal dialogue. I really love the analogy, or the question, who said? And do I really believe this now? Do I really believe this now? Do I really want to hold on to this now? And just let it go. If you don't need to hold on to it, let it go. Say something more positive to yourself. The next way to really change or to get new thoughts is to change the scenario. You know, this is the tape that keeps rolling through your brain, rolls through your mind over and over again at the exact moment when you experience the emotional trauma. And in your mind, you know, what we can do with this, so that this old tape keeps playing over and over and over again. And you might be talking with somebody, and so you may have had a really bad experience with public speaking, or you may have heard somebody have a bad experience with public speaking, and that makes you freeze. And so you in this, I just cannot do this. Again, to change our thinking, we need to change the scenario. But you keep going, oh my God, I've got to stand up and do this talk. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that talk. I'm really afraid that I'm going to stumble on my words, or I'm going to make a mistake, or people are going to laugh at me. And I love the analogy that people say, you know, just picture people naked. I just cannot do that. But there are some people that I just do not want to visualize being naked. But it's that tape that keeps rolling through your mind. I can't do this. You know, I can't do this. I can't do this. So what we want to do, or when you keep seeing that exact moment when you experience emotional trauma, so if you know where that exact moment was, what you can do in your brain is just freeze frame the image. Create an image, just one flat image, freeze frame it. And then what you can do is actually change the image from color to black and white. You can step out of the image. You can push the image away from you. You know, so you can actually change the scenario just by doing that. If you've got somebody's voice in your head all the time saying, you know, you've got to work hard for money, then change it to a different voice in your mind. So change it to, oh, you've got to work hard for money. You've got to work hard for money. Change it up to, oh, you've got to work hard for money. Like, change it to some sort of funny cartoon voice. That can change the scenario for you as well. You know, or you can take the image that you might be seeing and you can freeze frame the image in your mind and change that image from color down into black and white. If it's a moving image that you've got, we want it to be still, and then you can push the image away from you so that you're actually not reliving it anymore. A really simple technique of using creative visualization to really let go or change that tape that keeps rolling through. Again, a reminder to you that you're in charge of your thoughts. So you get to play with that and you get to, you know, do whatever you want with it. If you haven't seen the show, one of my favorite things is Ally McBeal, and they used to actually show these moments in that TV program. So if you've not seen that series, it's back in the 90s when it played. But they'd actually cut to a different scene. So there'd be dialogue going on between different people, and then they'd actually cut to what was really going through in her brain. And it was often really funny. And I just had those moments. That's changing the scenario. You know, so you can use these techniques to really change the scenario. Again, one of the things that we talked about was changing the voice, you know, so reliving those childhood traumas. You can definitely hear the voice of that person. So again, changing it into, you know, a high-pitched mouse talking. You can also turn the volume right down, you know, when you've got those booming voices that come through, you can't do this. Well, you can challenge it and say, well, who said? But then you can actually turn that voice down. So just close your eyes, quiet your mind. You can hear the big loud voice and just turn it down. So it's almost like just, you can't do this. Well, who said? Well, you can't do that. Who said? And, it, you know, turn the volume all the way down in your mind's eye. Get really creative and have some fun with that. I just think it's awesome that we've got the power in our brains with this creativity and with the power of our minds to really change this stuff up, to change our thinking. And the final bit that I've got here for you with changing our thoughts is to practice self-love every day. You know, this is about being your authentic self. This is about stepping into your authenticity. You know, we talk about the vibration of love and freedom and empowerment and knowingness being the highest vibrations, authenticity, proven scientifically, has got a higher vibration or a higher frequency than all of the others. So authenticity is self-love. Yeah, so practice self-love every day. Be your authentic self. And if you're not sure what self-love is for you, I've published a book on how to go about this to make your life easier. It's a daily checklist that you can actually go through, and the end result is self-love. So it's just being in appreciation, understanding your I ams, looking for the things that you actually are doing that represent self-love for you. Yeah. So you can go through, you can order that book on my website, jennifercarl.com.au. That's always available to you as well. The most important point that I'd really like you to take away from these particular insights is that, coming back around, healing emotional trauma doesn't need to be traumatic, and it doesn't need to be hard. And we do not have to relive the past or unpack it. We don't have to go through all of those steps. We can simply choose to be in the now, be in this moment, and choose thoughts that feel really good to us right now. That's it. Feel really good right now. Because again, you were not defined by your past. You had all of those experiences. Tick the box. You've had those experiences. Those experiences have led you to this point right now. Have appreciation for it, but be in the now and choose the best feeling that you can feel right now in this moment. And that is going to help you release all of that past and not be in that space of ruminating over it, reliving it. I will add, if you do feel too overwhelmed by your past trauma, I'm here when you're ready to let go, when you're ready to really move past it. My aim is always to provide you with peace, calm, and self-love whenever we're healing. Never want you to leave a healing session feeling like you've just relived everything and totally drained. I want you to feel light and alive. It might be an opportunity for you as well if you have experienced really, negative past trauma, or if you feel like you can't release it, reach out to people. There are people around you. I probably wouldn't go to family and friends. I would reach for somebody who is going to be a little bit more professional, but there are numbers that you can contact. There are people out there. There are other healers. There are other professionals as well that can actually help you to move past this. But the biggest point is here that it doesn't need to be hard. It can be that simple. You can choose to change your thinking and change your thoughts about it. You are not defined by any past trauma that's come your way. And you're allowed to let it go. You no longer have to carry it forward with you. I hope this has been helpful for you today. Thanks for your ongoing support. I'm sending so much love to you and to your family, and I really look forward to the next time that we can share some insights with you. Have a fantastic day.